Hey everyone, welcome to Pastor Play. So today I'm reviewing The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself, Season 1, streaming on Netflix, based on the book Half Bad by author Sally Green. And off the bat, I really want to say, I really do hope there's a Season 2 of this. I hope it gets enough views and algorithms to get a Season 2. So this world, the story, it takes place in the everyday world, but humans are called Fane. Basically, individuals, humans who have no magic and no interest in magic. Being a witch is kept secret as far as them actually existing and having magic, like in the real world. And there are two groups of witches. You have Fairborn witches who are seen as good, and there are also kind of the governing witches. They have a Fairborn Witch Council, but they do seem to be self-appointed. Not everyone agrees with their so-called rules. And then you have the second group of witches, which is called blood witches, who are seen as bad. And some eat your heart to get your magic. And each kind of group has their own traditions and kind of things that they follow and how they operate. Being blood witches versus being born fairborn witches. Depending on what kind of witch you are, will kind of, in most cases, kind of determine your power, which they get when they turn 17 years old by basically um, getting a drop of blood from someone in their family, and that's how they come into their power when they become 17. So basically you just need a drop of blood from someone in your bloodline, and that will kind of activate your powers when you become 17. And the story focuses on Nathan, who is born out of tragedy, who goes to live with his grandmother and his older sister after his fairborn witch mother is killed for being conceived from his witch blood father, Marcus Edge, who's infamous for killing a bunch of fairborn witches and taking their magic at a peace treaty. And in this, where Nathan is growing up is majority fairborn witches. And the sins of the father apparently are just automatically Nathan's. From a baby up, the Fairborn Council and community, they treat him like a murderer. They treat him like he killed all these people, all these Fairborn Council members at this peace treaty that wasn't peaceful. They consider it a massacre. And his father was never seen or heard from after that massacre. So his father, Marcus Edge, is still kind of, out, but no one has heard or seen him for years. Um, you know, and Nathan is outcast for the actions of his fathers. He's hated by and treated badly, by the kids at school, the parents. No one gets to know him. The parents are telling their kids to stay away from him. He's getting bullied. They can say anything to him. They can, beat him up. And then if he tries to defend himself or he retaliates, and they say, there it is. You're a blood witch, right? And the reason that the Fairborn witches keep him alive is because of a prophecy that they believe to be true somewhere down the line when he gets older. So they keep him alive basically for that. I would say the one shining light in his life, at least from when he's a baby, is his grandmother, who, basically lets him know, you decide what kind of person you are. And then the question also, in the story from the Fairborn Witches Council is he going to be a blood witch or a Fairborn witch? Um, you know, Basically the Fairborns are with the Fairborns, and the blood witches are with the blood witches. His mom and dad is kind of like a Romeo and Juliet scenario versus the government, or the politics of the Fairborn Council. And even in this story, once Nathan becomes 16 years old, which is where the story really kind of takes roots and started taking place, to give you a little bit of back history. But it really takes root when he becomes 16, and he's about 10 months away and coming into his power. And um, at one point they have him training, and they take him to seclude him for training because these murders and things start happening, and it's pointing to perhaps it could be his father who's like finally coming back out of hiding, or just wherever his father was. And they literally have him in a cage outside with a chain and like a lock to keep him caged. They treat him like an animal, they treat him like a murderer, and then yet it's like, well, are you going to be bad? I'm like, well, if you keep treating him like this, I won't be surprised if he does get corrupted. And then the question is, just because his father was that way isn't going to make him that way. And they also ask, every month they have this Fairborn security member, come and ask him all these random questions. Do you hear, basically asking him questions that are characteristics of blood witches, to see does he answer yes to any of them. As far as could he be coming into his power? Um, Now, as the story progresses, again, I will say you will come to find out, does the prophecy mean what people thinks it mean, or does it mean something else? Who really are the bad witches or the good witches? Are they equally the same? The I say episode 3 and 5 has some really cool special effects. Episode 6 is really the episode where you kind of get more information about the history between both witches. And the last episode is really good too. Good special effects. You really get to see people using their magic. There's stuff throughout. I think the special effects are pretty good in some instances, and some powers. Sometimes it looks a little CGI-ish, but I mean it doesn't look bad. But the overall story, the script, the actors, all that's there, and it's good throughout. It was interesting throughout every episode. I liked how everything moved. Um, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give away the story. But once it becomes clear that Marcus Edge, is back, then it's how will Nathan, get his power and kind of come into it when he's 17, and who can he trust, who can he not trust? His sister Jessica. His sister Jessica. I can't really. I don't like her. she, she, her mother was killed, and we get where the anger comes from. But again, she takes it out on Nathan as if he did it himself, and his grand is the really only. There are other people who eventually do treat Nathan like a person and a human being, and treat him decency. But a lot of the people treat him like crap, and then they're surprised at like the outcome when he does, start making some of the decisions that he does make. I'm like, if you treat people like that, of course they're going to do that. What did they think was going to happen? And the people who keep acting like they're victims and they're no better than the people that they're accusing of crimes that they felt were committed against them. There's a lot of hypocrisy. Um, Soul is an asshole. I can't even stand that character. Um, Gabriel, he's a cool character. Celia, she's a badass. And Annalise, who's the love interest of Nathan, she's cool. And at one point, I thought, like the way Annalise powers work, I would have thought she was a blood witch. But it's like, no, apparently that's not a blood witch power, but it should be. But I digress. But um, either way, this is a really good episode. I just try to give you a little bit of back history, but this is a really good series. I don't know how to say it any other way. I don't want to tell you it. I say watch it. It's 8 episodes. Most of the episodes are a little bit over 40 minutes, and then some are going more towards 50, but then they're like under an hour. But either way, it's a good watch. It's fun. It is based off of this book series that I never heard of. Honestly, it makes me kind of want to read the book. but I don't know how good the adaptation is. But it seems pretty good to me. I have fun watching this series. I don't even know how to just say. I mean, it's a play, but it's not a movie. But I would say you probably will enjoy this. It kind of reminds me of the show Skins. On I think it used to be on BBC, but either way, this is a good show. Check it out. If you like this review, hit the like button. If you have any comments, leave them below. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. Trying to get 1,000 by the end of the year. Thank you, and see you next time.